You're sitting in your boss's office during your annual review. She's offering you a promotion, more responsibility, better title, the whole package. 5 years ago, you would have said yes instantly. But today, something's different. You pause. You actually consider saying no. Not because you hate your job, but because you don't need it the way you used to. Your portfolio hit $400,000 last month. You're generating about $1,300 in passive income. Not enough to quit, but enough to feel something shift inside you. You're in a phase that nobody talks about, the twilight zone between broke and free, and it changes everything about how you move through the world, even though you're technically still years away from financial independence. What's up, everyone? My name is Billy. Most financial content talks about two states, being broke or being financially free. But there's this entire overlooked territory in between that changes everything about how you experience work, money, and freedom. If you're tired of feeling stuck on the hamster wheel, but financial independence feels like a fantasy reserved for tech bros and trust fund kids, you're going to want to stick around, because today we're breaking down the phase that creates real options in your life long before you hit some magical number. Hit that subscribe button if you're ready to see the game board clearly, and let's dive in. Here's what they don't tell you about building wealth. There's a specific moment when the rules change, and it happens way before you're financially independent. It's called the crossover point, and it comes from a book called Your Money or Your Life that's been changing lives since 1992, yet somehow it remains one of the most underappreciated concepts in personal finance. The crossover point is the exact moment when your investment income exceeds your living expenses, when your money generates enough to cover your life whether you work or not. But here's what makes this brilliant. You start feeling the effects long before you get there. Think of it like climbing a mountain. Financial independence is the summit, but as you climb, you hit different elevation levels, where the air feels different, where you can see further, where the temperature changes. Each level gives you something new, even though you haven't reached the top yet. When your investments generate $500 a month, that's your grocery bill covered, passively. At $1,200, that's your rent. At $2,000, you could theoretically work part-time and maintain your lifestyle. You don't have to wait for the summit to start breathing easier. Let me show you the actual numbers, because this is where it gets empowering. You have two lines in your financial life. Your monthly expenses, let's say $3,500, and your investment income, which starts at basically zero. Your crossover number is simple. Monthly expenses times 12 equals $42,000 annually, times 25 equals $1,050,000. That's your full financial independence using the 4% rule. Now, before you close this video thinking, I'll never get to $1 million, listen to this part carefully. Let's say you're investing $800 a month at 8% average return. After 10 years, you'd have around $147,000. Your annual investment income would be roughly $5,900, or about $490 a month. That's not full independence, but it is your phone bill, your streaming services, your gym membership, and your groceries, permanently, whether you work or not. After 20 years, you'd have around $440,000, generating roughly $1,470 a month. You're now at what I call breathing room FIRE. You could take a lower-paying job you actually enjoy because your investments cover 40% of your expenses. See what's happening? You're getting incrementally more free every single year as those lines get closer together. This is the part that nobody talks about, and it's arguably more important than the destination itself. Financial independence isn't binary. You're not either completely dependent or completely free. There's this entire gradient, the spectrum of freedom that you move through. There's a concept called coast FIRE that illustrates this perfectly. It's the point where you've invested enough that compound interest alone will grow your portfolio to your target by traditional retirement age, even if you never invest another dollar. For example, if you're 30 and want $100,000 by 60, you'd need about $100,000 invested today. Once you hit that, you've essentially locked in your retirement. You could switch careers, go part-time, travel, start a business with less pressure. Your future is mathematically secured.
That's freedom before the crossover. Freedom from having to stay on the aggressive accumulation treadmill. Then there's Barista FIRE, where your investments cover most expenses and you just need a casual job for health insurance and a little extra spending money. No career stress, no corporate ladder, just enough work to bridge a small gap. Each of these phases offers something that traditional retirement planning completely misses: options. Real, tangible choices about how you spend your time and energy decades before age 65. Here's where you have way more control than you think. The crossover point moves based on two variables: your portfolio size and your expenses. And here's the secret: you can pull both levers simultaneously. Most people focus only on earning more and investing more. That's one lever. But the expense lever is just as powerful and often faster. If you cut your monthly expenses from $3,500 to $2,800, you just lowered your crossover number from $1,050,000 to $840,000. You shaved $210,000 off your target, which could mean 5 to 7 years less working. And here's the multiplier effect. Lower expenses mean more money available to invest. If that $700 monthly reduction goes straight into investments, you're now attacking the problem from both directions. You need less, and you're building faster. I'm not talking about deprivation or eating ramen for a decade. I'm talking about conscious optimization. House hacking to eliminate or reduce housing costs, relocating to a lower cost of living area if that aligns with your values, cutting the subscriptions and habits that don't actually add to your life. Every $100 you reduce from monthly expenses is $30,000 less you need to reach crossover. That's leverage. Look, here's the truth. 57% of Americans believe they'll never retire comfortably, according to recent surveys. But most of those people have never calculated their crossover point. They've never realized they have a specific, achievable target and concrete actions they can take to get faster. They're just vaguely anxious about an uncertain future, which is psychologically paralyzing. The crossover point makes your path visible. It transforms financial independence into a series of measurable milestones you can actually track. So here's what I want you to do. Calculate your monthly expenses, your real ones, not what you think they are. Multiply by 300. That's your crossover number. Check your current investment balance. The difference between those two numbers, that's your gap. That's the only thing standing between you and work becoming optional. Then ask yourself, how can I close this gap faster? Can I earn more, invest more consistently, optimize my expenses intelligently? Because here's what I think about constantly. Every dollar you spend has two costs: the money itself and the freedom you're trading for it. That $40,000 car instead of a $25,000 isn't just $15,000. At 8% returns, that's $30,000 in 9 years, $60,000 in 18 years. That's months of your life you're trading. I'm not saying never spend money on things that matter to you. I'm saying see the trade-off clearly so you can make conscious choices. The middle phase between broke and free is where most of your financial life actually happens. It's where your money starts working alongside you, then eventually works harder than you do. It's where options emerge, where work becomes less about survival and more about choice. And the beautiful part is, you don't need to be special to get there. You just need to understand the mechanics and stay consistent long enough for the math to work. The lines will cross if you let them. That's not a promise, it's just math. If this video helped you see that middle phase clearly, smash that like button and subscribe for more content that cuts through the noise. Drop a comment and let me know what your crossover number is. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next video.